And here we go. Here we go on this Monday evening in the city. Sometimes these shows sneak up on you. But any event, welcome to the Monday 6 p.m. edition of Real Talk Memphis. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, it is a live broadcast, and I am a live human being behind the microphone. I am your humble host. My name is Chip Washington, and it is great to be with you all this evening. A few raindrops hitting the windshield on my way down here this evening. Nothing too dramatic, but cools things down a little bit, and we could all use some of that. So I hope that you have been doing well since we last gathered at the river about 7 days ago, and the week has been good for you and everything else involved in it. As far as we are concerned tonight, I have a good show for you this evening, so sit back, relax, and take a chill pill for the next hour of a great conversation with some great guests. I will lay those out for you in just a moment. But how do you find this fine piece of radio broadcasting? Well, you can do that a number of ways. Right now we're live. 91.7 on your FM dial. That would be WYXR, and that's where we are in the studios of WYXR in the concourse, or what is this? What do you call Crosstown Concourse? That's what they call it. That's where we are tonight. You can also hear us on the WYXR app. We are on the TuneIn app. We are live streaming the show tonight on Facebook. So if you choose to use that form to check us out tonight, please do so. And as this show is a podcast, you can find us once they post the show on any and every podcast platform out there. Whichever your favorite podcast platform is, just put in Real Talk Memphis with Chip Washington, and guess what? It'll pop up and you'll hear the latest episode. How about that? Good stuff. In terms of our guest this evening, we have some important conversation ahead of us. Britney Thornton, who is a county commissioner in District 10, an outgoing county commissioner, I might add. She's going to be joining me in just a little bit to talk about this session, which has been nothing if it has not been challenging for sure. And she kind of gives us her thoughts about everything that has happened so far this year. A little bit, right in just a few minutes, as a matter of fact, our first guest tonight is Shelby County Sheriff Floyd Bonner. And he is wrapping up his second term as Shelby County Sheriff. He's been in law enforcement over 40 years in his career, and I'm going to talk to him a little bit about the highs and the lows of law enforcement, where things stand in Memphis and Shelby County, and the most important question is, once his term is up in August, is he going to consider running for something else, or is he going to be content to be a grandpa? That's always, those are the important questions you really want to know. So I'll find that out in just a few minutes. And a little bit later on, I speak to a former Memphis Police Department officer. This man was on the force for over 30 years. He retired as a colonel with the Memphis Police Department. And now he has turned his attention to writing. He is an author, and he has a brand new book that is out that we will talk about a little bit later on. His name is Darren Goods. Many of you around here probably know him and know of him and know who he is. Well, he's going to tell us a little bit about his career. By the way, he, along with the work from the gang unit, Memphis Police Department gang unit, back some years ago, broke the Lorenzen Wright murder case. So, yeah, we'll talk a little bit about that as well. So there you go. Some good guests popping in to join us this evening. And before we get into all of that, I like to celebrate birthdays. I think birthdays are a big deal. And if you have made your current trip around the sun and you're still here to talk about it, that's even more important. But so we like to shout you out on this big broadcast. I can't do it until I say, hit it, Brent. A lot of folks on this list I know personally, actually. Happy birthday going out to Judge Jane Chandler. Happy birthday, Judge. My guy, Jed Lucas, longtime radio veteran in this town, celebrating his birthday today. Happy birthday to Bobby White, to Sheila Stone. Happy birthday, Don Johnson. Keith Caldwell, happy birthday to you, sir. Jimmy Hicks celebrating today, and a longtime friend from way back in Jackson, Mississippi, Mr. Greg Flynn, celebrating his birthday today. Happy birthday to each and every one of you, and from all of us here at Real Talk Memphis, we hope that you have had a wonderful celebration of your time on this earth. And it involves some sort of, cake and ice cream. That's always a good thing. Happy birthday from all of us here. And we hope to be with you next year for your next trip around the sun. Thanks, Brent. So a couple of deaths to announce this evening. I think in the political world, a lot of folks still shocked about Senator Lindsey Graham from South Carolina. Died suddenly Saturday night at the age of 71. Preliminary reports say it had something to do with his heart. So that was very, very shocking. And a lot of folks in Washington, D.C. are still very shocked about all of that. And for you movie buffs out there, how many of you, show of hands, have seen the Jurassic Park series of movies? I don't know how many they made, about 4 or 5, 6 or whatever. See, nobody in my studio is raising their hands. So that means, Lulu, no Jurassic Park? Lulu said, I don't have time for all that. There's no Jurassic Park stuff here. Bryn, there you go. Like I said, Bryn raised his hand. He understands that. Sam Neill, one of the stars of that movie, Sam Neill, was passed away over the weekend at the age of 78 years old. And I'm not a Jurassic Park fan, but it's a huge franchise, apparently. Huge. Lulu's looking at me like, really? So anyway, but may their memories always be a blessing. Let us take a quick look at some news and notes this evening. All right, so this is, we're getting close to the time, ladies and gentlemen. What time is that, you say, Chip? Election time. This Friday, the 17th of July, begins early voting for the current election. And this is, as we have been saying over and over again, an election of consequence. It is a major election. If you've never gone out to vote, you might want to try it this time. Because this is about as consequential a situation as we've ever seen or had. And again, it is too important for you to miss. So we hope that, whether you do it on election day or you do it early, I like to vote early, get out and exercise your right to vote. And let's see, in other news here, we have had some situations that have occurred here lately in our city that have really gotten a lot of attention, but for the wrong reasons. And one of the things that has gone on is many of you has probably heard about the heat going out, the heat over at the Shelby County Jail. And we'll talk to Sheriff Bonner about that in just a couple of minutes. But, it has been impossible. 90-degree temperatures inside the building, no air whatsoever. This has been an ongoing battle over a long period of time. We all know that the jail is falling apart at the seams. We all know that we need a new one. We all know that we need fixes quickly, but the problems just continue to mount and mount and mount. And in 201, the building itself, the criminal courts were down today because of heat and because of the flood they had a couple of weeks ago back. That is still causing problems. So courts were closed today. I heard before I left that they would probably be closed tomorrow as well. So again, ladies and gentlemen, if you have a business down at 201, you might want to check with those folks. You might want to call and find out whether or not the building will be open again. So problem after problem after problem as pertains to 201 Poplar. Many folks are talking about the incident that happened with the young man, Nolan, down in Mississippi. They found him on an island. They were on some island off the Mississippi coast. He and some friends. Well, the friends made it home. He didn't make it home. 18 years old. They found his body, there on the rocks, and it looks like it's a very suspicious situation in terms of exactly what happened, how it happened, who knows what about what happened. And again, the investigation is ongoing. His parents are extraordinarily upset in all of this. A lot of people are asking questions that we can't seem to get answers to at this particular point in time, but the investigation is ongoing and it continues, as it does for a couple of cases here. The Cohen Wiley case, the 1-year-old child that was shot and killed about almost a month ago, we have still not gotten any closer to finding out exactly what happened, why it happened, and the way it happened. We have heard nothing from the Mississippi Bureau of Investigation, who is supposed to be investigating this. We have heard nothing from any public officials in Senatobia. We have heard nothing from either the mayor or the police department or anything. Everybody is tight-lipped. Nobody's saying a word. And when situations like this continue to fester, folks start to get a certain type of reaction. And I think that we're starting to feel the reaction of people now in terms of some of these cases that we can't seem to get any answers to. More questions than answers, and that's not a very good thing, because what that does is it starts to put doubt in people's minds. And when people start doubting things, their emotions take over, and one of those emotions is anger. And you're going to start to see people start to bubble over with angriness and anger in terms of their emotions, because they can't seem to get any answers to the open questions of shootings that have occurred in this town and that we have no answers for. So, with all of the disagreements that are happening, with all of the circumstances that are happening, with the big election that's coming up, there is a lot at stake here. And most of us need to start to focus in, pay attention to what is going on, and demand answers when answers are needed. That's all I'll say about all of that. I will stop there. I will take a quick break, and when we come back, we'll get into the show. My first guest is Shelby County Sheriff Floyd Bonner. We have one or two things we'd like to ask him. This is Real Talk Memphis. I am Chip. You know who you are. Let's take a break. We'll be right back. And welcome back to Real Talk Memphis on this Monday evening. Chip with you. I don't know that we'll be able to get Sheriff Bonner. I don't know if that's him logged in. I don't know who that is up there, but we're moving on. And my next guest is someone who has been on the county commission for the last 4 years, and I guess I can call her outgoing now because her term is about up. But it's been a while since I've caught up with her, so I'm glad to be able to have this conversation with her. Please welcome to the show County Commissioner Britney Thornton. And Britney, it's good to see you, my friend. How are you?
Always a pleasure to be with you, Chip. I've been waiting a little minute. You made me wait a little minute this time.
Well, I know. I'm sorry. It's the radio thing. It's the technical thing. But we're good. We're good. We're good. I'm glad. I'm glad you're here with us. So, you're about to wrap up a 4-year calling, I would say, stint on the Shelby County Commission. I would imagine that during this time period, you have learned a lot. There are many ups and downs when it comes to governmental issues. What do you think is the biggest lesson you've learned during your time on the county commission?
You're so true. So it's been a really great learning experience for me. I'm a first-time elected. I don't come from a political family, so I went in just so green. Coming out, I think that I have a better understanding of just how government actually works, and just this understanding that, people say government moves slow. It's really just because people choose to move slow. So, the agenda that you vote into office, it just matters. We'll leave it at that.
Okay, we can do that. Well, having said all that, and I know that there have been some very challenging times that you all have had to face, and this year seems to have been pretty. I don't know. I don't know exactly what the word is to use besides challenging. Well, how would you describe it in terms of, because you have how many of the 13 of you, right, on the county commission? Is that
Yeah. They're 13.
So, yeah, a lot of different people with a lot of different backgrounds, a lot of different opinions, and a lot of different voices in all of this. And so, having said that, and in terms of the fact that were a political novice, I guess I need to ask you why, if you don't mind sharing, did you decide that after this term you didn't want to run for re-election as a seasoned public official?
Yeah, people have to remember I'm from the oldest Black community in the city of Memphis. So I have been reared to understand that when Black people are in power, that you're going to see Black solidarity, you're going to see Black excellence. And I just haven't seen a group of leaders that are committed to that. And so for me, every single day that I would come into meetings, I'm coming from a low income community that has a lot of needs. And so seeing just kind of the resistance to actually serving the interests of poor Black and brown people, I just want to just take a step back just to kind of study it some more, because being on the inside is very aggressive when you're trying to be a change agent. And I just, I finished my term and I'm just going to rah whoever is taking on, the position after me to figure out like how we can hopefully collectively like try to push for some changes together.
Yeah, this election that we are about to get into has a lot. There's a lot going on here. I mean, a lot, and a lot of different areas, a lot of different ways. A lot of the folks in the county commission running for re-election. You have some new folks that are coming in as well. When you survey the landscape, Brittany, and I can understand that there will be times when there will be some frustrating moments in terms of maybe a path forward from your eyes or from your perspective of maybe from another county commissioner's perspective that could be a bit on the frustrating side. Let me ask you something that is sort of top of mind today. And that is, we heard about the recent audit from the state in reference to the Memphis and Shelby County schools, and that there was a deficit, and they talked about waste, fraud, and abuse to the tune of many, many millions of dollars. A board has been appointed by the state. They were about to take over when the elected board filed a lawsuit, won the temporary restraining order to kind of put a pause on things right now. The county commission is also involved as a partner in this lawsuit. Am I correct in that?
Yes.
So, in reference to that, let me just get your take on all of this. Where should we be on all of this? Should this lawsuit have been filed? Should it be canceled? What should be the direction moving forward? And are you in support of this appointed board?
So I wasn't in favor of the lawsuit, not because I don't understand the need to challenge. It was more so just the way that it was done. It was rushed through. It didn't come through committee, and there's so many questions. Like $200,000, what is it going towards? How long do people anticipate that we'll be in court? Because I mean, it's my understanding that the upper courts are more conservative courts, so a lot of things have been appealed up and just completely, left to the wayside. So I didn't understand the intent. Was the intent to just get the lawsuit on the records for future fights, or was it actually to, pursue because there was a belief that we would win? So when it comes to the oversight board, I mean, there's no mistake that I consider myself to be an education champion of now. I think that a lot of people hold on to some of like the more traditional beliefs of what the quality of public education is here. But if you go into schools, and I represent Hamilton, Melrose, Oak Haven, and Middle College High School, for my neighborhood schools of Hamilton, Oak Haven, and Melrose, there is an experience that is just absolutely subpar. And it's not because we don't have caring teachers and passionate parents. It's like the facilities alone are very much so just subpar. And so it's like we can't give our kids a high quality education, and I think that plays out in the outcome. So the overwhelming majority of our students are not grade level ready, and we're graduating droves of ill-equipped adults. And I think that at the neighborhood level where I operate, it is a huge problem right now. In 201, I know over 5 people from my neighborhood that are in 201 for various reasons. And when I think about how they got there, I can honestly say that their community did not offer them the protective factors and just resources that they needed to be more successful. And to me, that is not just a person like personal responsibility problem. That's a community problem. That's a government resource allocation problem. And I just don't think that we're doing it right.
We have some great challenges. I talked earlier about the Shelby County Jail 201 and the air issues and things like that. There is a need for a desperate need for repair in some of these schools that you just mentioned, and that are needed as well. You're trying to build a new hospital, a new Regional 1 hospital. There's an awful lot on the plate here. And how does one in a position like yours, how does one prioritize what's important and what's maybe less important?
So I'm gonna leave this for the listener because we're about to cast some pretty important votes. I want everyone to think about the vision that each of the candidates that you'll vote for. What do they have? And if you don't know the vision, don't feel compelled or forced to have to vote for someone
Mm.
because of a political party or because of what someone is saying. We need to make our electeds align with our agendas, which foundationally means that we need to come to the table with an agenda. If you don't tell an elected what to do, then you cannot expect that in decision making moments that they're mindful of you. And that is a huge problem across this county, particularly where the resources need to go. So what that looks like is you have a lot of senseless allocation of resources, people who are serving 5% of the issue but getting 100% of the funding. And so to me, the most foundational thing that we can do is we need to organize our neighborhoods. We need to have people speak up for their own issues, and people need to elect representatives of their own agendas. If you elect leaders, they are going to be human and they are going to do what works in their best interest. And I've seen that these past 4 years. Personal self-interest is reigning supreme in Shelby County. And so when we have multiple billion-dollar projects, we're struggling to be able to do what needs to be done because we have all these competing priorities that to me are lesser priorities. And here we are without a Regional 1, budget that's sufficient, without enough monies for the schools, with over $1 billion in deferred maintenance. Like, county officials need to heavily be scrutinized and critiqued because we are not doing our most basic jobs well.
Well, that's very interesting, and it's as honest too in terms of what is really going on. I think people really need to understand what you just said and the importance of doing your due diligence. If you're going to go to the polls and elect folks, or you're not satisfied or happy with what is happening now in the status quo, you have the opportunity as a voter to be informed and educated. And then when you go to the voting booth, hold the individuals that you're going to vote for responsible. It's interesting what you said about various interests and folks on one side versus the other side versus the other side. I'm gonna step back for just a second, and I want to go back to this school situation. Do you believe that that an appointed board by the state of Tennessee should be the governing body over an elected board of individuals, as we have on the Shelby County School Board now?
So I'll say foundationally, no. I do say when you elect a group of leaders that we have seen, like we as citizens and taxpaying citizens should not have to suffer for these terms. So to me, like the difference in 4 years, my child could have graduated. Like they could have started as a freshman and graduated and completely been overlooked and directly disenfranchised from poor leadership. So I think that there needs to be a sense of urgency to leadership. I love laws that allow for us to recall people elected. It's like if someone is not serving your interests, they gotta go because we're talking about very time sensitive things. If we had decades to be able to just wait things out, maybe. But when you're talking about a span of 4 years that you're locking yourself into with each person that you put into office, that is a very time sensitive time frame, and a lot can happen in your life. So, I'm the generation that has these kids in school. I'm watching so many of my peers struggle with looking at their neighborhood school as an option, and I think that we're in a crisis mode, but nobody has rang the alarm that there's a crisis. So I support the organizers that are, for extreme measures. And it's not that this is even how I would want to have to vote, but my vote of no confidence was because I'm watching the same system that failed me when I was in school fail now my niece, and stand to fail a third generation in due time. Like, it's a broken system, and the compounding effect of it is really something that we all feel. When you produce such low quality and capable, it's not that people aren't capable of doing it, but because we have not given them greater capacities, what we are putting back into our communities is just mass manufacturing criminal behavior, and just low level, like low vibrational behavior. Like, it's just like people, I'm sitting here watching headlines where Arlington is getting a $10 million football facility and going into the facilities at Hamilton, and it looks crazy, like, with no plan. So that's why I talk about vision a lot, because we need leaders that actually are going to tell us what is their plan to correct these wrongs. Because if we sit here and elect people that don't have vision, then you're just going to be wasting your time. And I'm just not willing as a taxpaying citizen to waste any more of my time. I've done 8 years. I'm not trying to do another 8-year stint. And it's like I'm in prison, so I can't appreciate it at all.
And that's a very honest assessment. We don't hear that kind of conversation from too many people, and I'm very glad that you're on the show to talk about all of this. It seems as if, from the population perspective, if I should use that term, that people are feeling that frustration. The frustration that you're expressing right now is a lot of what I think. There's a tenor of that is going through the city and the county, especially as pertains to the educational aspect of things. I mean, there are a lot of folks who are very frustrated and very angry and very upset at the current structure, and that something needs to be done. And if you have to bring in folks to oversee the process and do it, then do it, because what we have in place right now is not getting the job done. Does that sound about right to you?
I mean, when you're a predominantly Black city, noteworthy not only in the state of Tennessee, but the nation, and you have literally, white male leaders from across, the state of Tennessee now putting your leaders in place. Yeah, this is crazy. Like, how does that happen? And I think that people have to understand that before there was any type of intervention or takeover, there was direct control from predominantly Black leaders over Memphis City Council, the city mayor, the county commission. So we cannot sit up here and point the finger when we've had the power. So I think that at the end of the day, we have to acknowledge that, I'm more in a space where this whole race thing, this whole political party thing, I'm not buying into any of it, because at this point, white men, white women, Black men, Black women, Republicans, Democrats, they've all failed me. So it's just like, I liken it to this. I tell people, this is the dilemma that I felt as a local legislator. I have felt like I'm in an abusive relationship, that I know every single day I'm going to be abused, and that I'm going to take my chances now by entering into state custody, where I could have something, bad happen to me. But it's the what is a guarantee versus what could be your experience somewhere else. So that's how I feel. I feel like we know for a fact that if we do nothing here under local control, it's going to stay the same. There are too many holes in our operations, and corruption and collusion and just nepotism. It's run this thing into the ground. So now we look over here to this thing that a lot of people view as evil, and you say, well, you're saying you're here to help, but history tells me otherwise. I'm gonna trust you, but I know that this is a big risk. So it's like, honestly, I feel so much for taxpaying citizens here, particularly those that are inside the city limits of Memphis. It's like damned if you do, damned if you don't. But we've reached the point of I'll be damned if I stay in this space. And so at this point, you're having to dance with the devil and hope, that you'll be able to, I don't know, get something out of it. And it's a horrible posture. So I look forward to constituents taking back their power, because we have the numbers to be different in Memphis. But what we have done is we relinquished all of our control to a small group that has figured this thing out for
Yeah.
themselves. And I just resent the establishment here in the city and the county too much.
Britney Thornton, ladies and gentlemen, the Shelby County Commissioner, Britney Thornton, outgoing, and had some very pointed things to say about, and honest things to say about where things are right now. Britney, it is great to have you back on the show. I really appreciate you, and I'm sure wherever you are and wherever you go, I'll find you. And
Yeah.
because I enjoy listening to honest conversations. So thank you for that. I appreciate that.
Always. Thank you for sharing your platform. All the best in season.
Yes, ma'am. Absolutely. Brittany Thornton, ladies and gentlemen. Boy, now let me tell you something. Now, if you want real conversation and if you want somebody who can give that to you from the seat that they sit in, real, honest, and unvarnished, that was the conversation that needs to be had around here. People need to be honest about what is happening around here, and you need to, if you want to see changes, you have the power, people, to take back these offices and move folks out and move folks in and hold them just as accountable as the last folks you moved out. Let's take a quick break, and when we come back, we will continue this Monday ride. It's Real Talk Memphis. I'll be right back. And welcome back to Real Talk Memphis on this Monday. Chipper with you. And my next guest is another law enforcement expert. He spent over 30 years on the streets of Memphis, working with the Memphis Police Department in various capacities. He retired as an MPD Colonel with, as I said, over 30 years, 3 decades of experience patrolling the streets of our city. His name is Darren Goods. And I will say this. He knows about crime. And one of the things that a lot of people may not know about him is that he was responsible for helping to solve the Lorenzen Wright murder case. And he joins me now. He's now an author, and he has a new book out, and he's going to talk about. And it's great to see you, sir. Welcome to Real Talk Memphis. Thanks for coming.
Thanks, Chip and team, man. I truly appreciate you guys giving me the opportunity to kind of come on and just speak very briefly about this new project of mine and possibly, some of the experiences that I've had over 35 years in law enforcement here in the city of Memphis.
Yeah, you've seen a lot, you've done a lot, you know a lot about what is going on, and then you decided to become an author, and you do have a new book out. It is called Memphis Crime: A Trilogy of Fear. Now, that title in and of itself is pretty bold. Where did you come up with that? Was that a background? Was that just a thought process of everything that you may have experienced through your career in MPD, or what? Where did you come up with that title?
So, Chip, this was an idea that I had probably well over 20 years ago when I was a lieutenant in the robbery bureau, and some of the cases that we worked in the robbery bureau. Then I was fortunate enough to be selected to go and work with the FBI on their safety task force and investigating bank robbery. So the latter part, probably the last two-thirds of my career, actually, I primarily spent in violent crime, some type of violent crime investigation. And I just thought one day, hey man, look, I've done all these cases. I've been blessed to be to work with some of the best investigative minds, in my opinion, in the country. So why not tell the story? However, I didn't want to just write a nonfiction novel with 300, 400, 500 pages and just talk about case X or case B.
Mhm.
I wanted to really tell stories that probably didn't capture a lot of the headlines, but they were stories that had a psychological and emotional effect on me as I worked through them. So the trilogy of fear was how do I tell more than one story or multiple stories and really kind of fast hitting, fast paced like police work and where it kind of gives the reader an experience and not just reading.
Mhm.
They actually experience what those investigators experience. So the Trilogy of Fear is actually a book of short stories. Each book, there's 3 books in a 3-book volume, volume one, two, and three. Volume one is out now on Amazon, and each volume has 3 short stories about crimes that I've been involved in. The first one the first book, the 3 cases in that, talk about, 3 cases out that I worked in on the streets and that sort of thing. But I didn't want it to be a long read. I wanted people to be able to sit down, read, get immersed in it, and before they know it, they finished the book. And I wanted to really attract non-readers or people that didn't read a lot.
Hmm.
And how do you get them to sit down for 45 minutes, an hour or so, and read a book compared to taking 6, 7, 8 hours or 2 or 3 weeks to read one book. So that's kind of the premise behind the book and the series.
It's very interesting, and you come to it from a very real place because, as you said, these are cases that you worked on these streets of Memphis. Now, one of the most high profile cases I think we've had ever had in this city was the murder of Lorenzen Wright. And you were a part of the gang unit, I believe, during that time, and really broke this case open, and caught the individuals who were involved in all of this. After that case had been gone for a while, it had been going on for a while. It got cold, and then all of a sudden, you got some tips, and you were able to sort of close the door on all of this. How were you at all surprised at how once you started to get back on the train of this Lorenzen Wright case, that it came to the conclusion that it did? I mean, it seemed like once you got one piece, then everything else started to fall in place. Am I right about that?
So you're absolutely right, Chip. How the gang unit became involved in this case was at the time, of course, the Lorenzen was killed in 2010, July 2010. We're coming up on his anniversary, actually. And then in 2015, 2016, I believe, I was the operations commander for the Multi gang unit. And we had a couple of sheriff deputies. The sheriff deputy come to me and said, "Man, I've got some information that I think we can solve the Lorenzen Wright case." So we talked through it, and I said, "Look, man, go back and keep working it. I don't think you have enough yet, but keep working it, keep working your sources, and let's circle back on this conversation in a couple of weeks." It wasn't probably a week later. I had a couple of MPD officers come to me, and they said the almost identical thing. We've got some information that we think we know who solved who's responsible for killing Lorenzo Wright. Told them the same thing. Continue to work your sources. I don't think we're there yet. Let's circle back in a week or so. And then I got to thinking, man, the information that they gave were completely independent of each other. They did not know that the other investigator even had a conversation with me. So, as a police officer, you kind of get that sixth sense and the hair starts standing up on the back of your neck. I said, look, we've got to explore this. So we called all the guys in, we had a meeting. And initially they were not happy with me because they came to me in confidence. And when I called everybody into a meeting and then we started talking about Lorenzen Wright, they started looking at me side eye.
Mm.
And so once we put everything out on the table, they realized that, hey, look, we have an opportunity here to really, we think, solve this case. So we went to then Director Tony Armstrong and said, boss, I think we can solve this. Here's the information. Give me an opportunity. And he said, you got it. What do you need? So we actually handpicked some investigators who I thought were really good investigators. That they all had different areas of strength. We built a team, so no two people had the same strength because when you build a team, you have to have different people bringing different things to the table. And we got into it, and I said, "Look, we're gonna work this case like it happened last night." So collectively, we drove out to Callis Cutoff, and we using GPS locates. We located what was this where his body was located,
Mm.
and we're standing there, and there's something about when the decomposition process of the body, especially when it's exposed to really high temperatures, it leaves a really dark stain on the grass. And we were standing there for about 10 to 15 minutes, just kind of looking around, and we looked down and a little small dark spot in the grass. Now, I'm not saying that's exactly where Lorenzen's body was, but we were right on point with the GPS locates, and then here this stain is. So we were probably standing where Lorenzo Wright took his last breath. And when I pointed that out to those guys, they're standing around, and I could see the determination in those guys' face.
Yeah.
And I said, "Okay, guys, if this is what we're gonna do, let's do it." And in the name of Todd Beamer, Flight United Flight 93, let's roll. And from that point on, man, we looked at this case and we followed the evidence and we said wherever it leads, that's where we are going. And those guys, for about a year and a half, almost 2 years, they worked their fannies off. And we were very fortunate enough to bring some resolution to that case. Now, I will say this one thing we had that the initial team didn't have. We had two things. We had time
Yeah.
because we were not under any kind of time constraints. We weren't under any kind of pressure.
Mhm.
And then we had access to resources within the federal government, whether it be FBI, ATF, DEA, everybody in the alphabet soup. And we brought all of them, most of them, to the table at some point.
Amazing, absolutely amazing. Look, I'm short on time here, but I just again, I want people to know and understand that when someone like you who has the background and experience you have in law enforcement commits to writing a book, 3 chapters of this thing, I think it's worth a read to really understand how Memphis crime works around here. I'm gonna have to have you back so we can have a further conversation about all of this. But ladies and gentlemen, I think this is worth a read. This book, again, is called Memphis Crime, a Trilogy of Fear. And Darren Goods is the author. And there you go, ladies and gentlemen. That about wraps it up for this evening. But I want to thank you all for being part of what we do. As always, if you didn't get a chance to listen to the show live, check it out. Okay, this is a podcast. And if you missed Britney Thornton's interview, County Commissioner Britney Thornton's interview, you need to check it out. I'm not saying it for me. I'm saying it for you. This is an elected official who is outgoing, who has a lot to say about what is going on now, what has happened, what needs to happen, and what you can do to create the change to make that happen. So for all of us here at Real Talk Memphis, for Bryn coming up in a minute, for Lulu, and for yours truly, thank you for being a part of what we do. God bless. Until next time. And until next time, we are out.